Hello and welcome back to Here We Tow. Today I'm going to find out if our 3.5 tonne Coachman Sportivo is really usable at that weight, or is it just a bit of a gimmick to reach out to those people who don't have their C1. How are we going to find that out? Well, we're going to take it to the Weighbridge. You may have seen videos before where I've taken our other motorhomes to the Weighbridge, and I think it is a really good exercise to find out where you are in relation to the limit of your vehicle weight and that all important rear axle. So let me just go through a few facts and figures for you so you understand what we're doing and why we're doing it. So the Coachman Sportivo, now this is sold as a 3.5 tonne motorhome, a gross vehicle weight of 3,500 kilos. That means you don't need the C1 category on your licence. You can drive it on your standard car licence, such as Jules has. So this opens this motorhome up to those people that don't have C1. If you've got C1 like me, you can actually upplate this to 3,900 kilos, which is what I think a lot of people would do who are actually buying this. Now, many of you will already be thinking, how can you have a Mercedes motorhome that's nearly 7.5 metres long with a gross vehicle weight of 3.5 tonnes? And do you know what? That's a question I had myself. So what we're doing is we're going to the Weighbridge. Now, I'm going to show you around the motorhome, first around the outside, tell you what equipment we've got, then we'll go inside, have a nosy around my cupboards, because we all like to do that. Now, on paper, our motorhome should have a payload of 340 kilos. That's quite a small payload, as many of you will know who are motorhomers. It is a 2-berth motorhome, but it does have 4 travel seats. How practical is it to use 4 travel seats? At 3.5 tonnes, I don't think it's likely, but again, we're going to find out. Before we collected our motorhome, Coachman actually put this on some scales, and this motorhome, empty with no one in it, no equipment additionally in it, but about half a tank of diesel, was 3,060 kilos. So we already had an idea of where we were before we hit the road. Now, facts and figures, as I say, it's just short of 7.5 metres long, it's 2.9 metres high, and it's 2.4 metres wide. So this is a big motorhome. It's on Mercedes and it has the Alco chassis. If you want to know where your weight plate is, there's a couple of places you can look: under the bonnet, or in the door frame, or on the seat where I'm going to show you. You don't want the vehicle manufacturer's weight plate, you want the motorhome manufacturer's weight plate. Under my bonnet, I've got an Alco plate. Now, the Alco plate is not the plate I'm looking for. On our motorhome, I'm looking for this plate here, my manufacturer's plate, and that tells me that my maximum mass is 3.5 tonnes. So that's what you want to look for. You'll also find a bit further down a number 1 and a number 2. Now, your number 1 is the maximum weight your front axle can take, and number 2 is your rear axle. Now, our number 2 is 2,100 kilos. That's a maximum that axle can weigh, and we don't want to go over that. What I'm going to do at the Weighbridge is have a total weight, and then I'm going to get my rear axle. It's very unusual you would overladen your front axle, because when you put your equipment in your motorhome, it's generally going to be going back here. Right. So what do we have equipment-wise already on this motorhome? So our Sportivo comes standard. On the roof, we have a 140 watt solar panel. We've got a Wi-Fi unit. We've got a television aerial. So that's what's up on the roof. No aircon unit. An aircon unit is going to weigh about 30 kilos if you wanted to add that. Going down the exterior, these are lockers. There's nothing in this locker at the moment. We have got our electric hookup cable that we'll be taking with us. Our garage. So in here we've got our motorhome box. That weighs about 10 kilos. Our Malenko levelling ramps. They're probably about 8 kilos. 5 litres of windscreen wash. So that's another 5 kilos. Our table, chairs set. Again, altogether probably 10 kilos. We've got a box that Coachman gave us. That probably weighs just under 10 kilos, and we've got a pack, 24 pack of Pepsi Max, that's 8 kilos, and we've got a hose pipe as well in there for filling up the water tank. We've also got a warning triangle and a first aid kit. What we're not going to the Weighbridge with is our e-bikes. They weigh about 46 kilos, and we've not got those with us. We also have our safe fill bottle. Now this is a 10 kilo bottle, but when full it weighs 15 kilos because it takes 10 kilos of actual LPG and weighs 5 empty. So we've got 15 kilos in there. We've got a completely full diesel tank. So our diesel tank is a 65 litre, so we've got 65 kilos of fuel, and we have got 20 to 25 litres of fresh water. Grey tank is empty, toilet cassette is empty. So we'll have a look inside next. Now on ours we have had the 2-lay awning fitted. Just about all the Sportivos are going to come with that fitted, and I believe that's an additional 25 kilos. But we're going to the Weighbridge obviously with that attached, and most Sportivos will have it. Let's go inside and find out what we've got in there before we head to the Weighbridge. Now inside, in the footwell at the front, I've got a heavy duty Malenko steering wheel lock. That's probably 3 kilos quite easily. That's a heavy bit of equipment. These two cupboards, these are currently empty at the moment. We haven't got anything in there. So you've got an overhead cupboard there. And in this one, this is the television cupboard. So depending on the weight of your television, you're going to have a few kilos there. Now we've got some of our gadgets on here. Under here, this is where our fresh water tank is. So we're going to the Weighbridge with around 20 to 25 litres of water. So that's 20 to 25 kilos there. So that's what we've got in terms of water. Coming back into the kitchen. So what have we got in our cabinet? So obviously we're away at the moment. So this is what we have got. Tins of rice pudding, porridge pots, some sauces here, bits and pieces in there. Then we have the kettle, our plates are under there, bowls, again some condiments. This is my contraband cupboard. I've got chocolate in here, some yum yums from Greg's, kitchen roll, pack of custard creams no less. And then in this one, a couple of mugs, tea bags, my drinks that I have. I tend to have those. I don't just always eat rubbish. I do tend to have those shakes that I quite like. So that's what's in the cupboards up there. And then we've got our bank of drawers. So we are going to the Weighbridge with a couple of bits in here, just sort of usual kitchen items really, placemats, chopping board, and then a few bits and pieces in there. And in this one, this is empty at the moment. That's where our bin would be. And then coming across, we have our cutlery. Now I know it's a mess, we haven't got a cutlery tray, and I'll just show you these oven gloves. A lady called Jackie actually made these and sent these to us. I think they're absolutely fantastic. So proper little camping oven gloves. So that's what we've got in that drawer. Obviously there's our Thetford oven, which would be standard, and down here just got a frying pan and a bit more Tupperware there. So that's in those cupboards. And then coming across, Thetford Tower fridge and freezer. So at the moment I've got 4 litres of milk, so that's 4 kilos of milk, bits and pieces in there, some food, a couple of tins of Coke in here. So that's what we've got in the fridge. Normally my fridge would have a bit more in that, so another maybe kilo or 2. In the bathroom, not got a lot in the bathroom really. We've obviously just got a towel. In this cupboard there's a number of toilet rolls. And then we've got toiletries that you can see in there. And then this one's just got a couple of toiletries in there. That's my moisturiser, deodorant, Jules's shaving towel. And I'll close that up. And then down here, just got a few bits and pieces in here. That's where I keep my oil spray, fairy liquid and surface spray. And then coming up, so this is more where the weight is at the moment. I've got my bedding, so obviously 2 sets of bedding, cushions, big heavy Duvet memory foam pillows. They're quite heavy to be fair. And then under here, so Jules and I, in here, this is how we take our clothing away. That's in there. We've both got about 10 kilos of clothing. We've got some coats and normal clothes. We've also got a couple of pairs of shoes each. Then under there, I've got a few more bits. I've got a tyre inflating machine, as you can see, another kitchen roll and some gadgets. Between us with gadgets, and by gadgets I mean our iPads and Jules's camera stuff, we've got about 10 kilos of gadgets as well. Under here, this is Jules's cupboard, so his clothing bag, again, as I say, about 10 kilos of clothes, and the batteries in there for the e-bikes that we're not taking with us to the Weighbridge. We can add those later. Up here, we travel light. You'll probably all know we travel light if you've seen other videos of ours. I've got a little throw to keep me warm outside if I'm sitting out, my towel there, and then I don't think there's anything in any of these other overhead lockers, no. If we were going away for an extended trip, we might have a few more clothes with us, but 20 kilos is it's like a big suitcase, isn't it? Right, so that's what we've got up there. That's what we've got in our kitchen, in our bathroom, the water tanks. So yeah, we're heading to the Weighbridge with what you've seen in the garage, a completely full diesel tank. I believe it's a 65 litre diesel tank, totally brimmed, 20 to 25 litres, which is 20 to 25 kilos of fresh water, and then the bits and pieces inside. I've already told you what we've got on the roof, so we've got an idea of what we're going with. We need to be 3.5 tonnes or under. If not, we've got a bit of a problem. So let's go to that Weighbridge. Hopefully we will still have a little bit more of an allowance because we've got our e-bikes to go on. And if we wanted to add anything else like an air conditioning unit or take more water with us, we'd need that allowance. I think realistically at 3.5 tonnes, we're not going to be taking passengers, but we're going to find that out. So I'm going to make my way to the Weighbridge, and then I'll see you back outside when we've got back on site and we know what we weigh. Right, we've been to the Weighbridge. That was fairly straightforward. I always ring ahead and just check it's okay to go. And if you want to know where your local Weighbridge is, you can have a look on your local council website and find public Weighbridge and it'll tell you where it is. So I rang up, we've gone down. This has cost me £10. Obviously it varies where you go. So when we arrived, went into the office, we've then gone completely onto the Weighbridge, Jules and I in there. Jules weighs about 105 kilos. I weigh, I believe, about 60 kilos. So we were in there at that time. We then did our rear axle. So what weights do we have? Well, our gross vehicle weight, are we over or under? At the moment, we weigh 3.4 tonnes, so 3,400 kilos. Now I know Weighbridges can have a little tolerance, however, I'm not going down that route to explain that today. I'm going with what's on here. So 3,400 kilos, so we're 100 kilos under our limit. So right now, what could we do with that additional 100 kilos? Our e-bikes, as I said, 46 kilos, so we know we can take those. And generally we would travel probably with a little bit more water in, so we still have an additional payload for more water. Or if we wanted, we could fit an aircon unit. As I said, that was 30 kilos. Or you could look at self-levelling or air suspension. So the good news is 100 kilos under. Now, not everyone's going to take e-bikes, so you could even have, you know, more payload left. The reality is though, like I said before, could we take passengers? I don't think so. You would maybe get one person if you didn't have your e-bikes, and that would be your limit. But the good news is, yes, the Sportivo is a 3.5 tonne motorhome on a Mercedes. On paper, 3.4 tonnes with 100 kilos left. So it's not a gimmick, it is doable, which I'm quite surprised about. Let me know what you think in the comments. The rear axle, good news on that as well, 1,740, so we're well under our rear axle, which limit was 2,100. So even with the additional bikes, we're still going to be under 1,800 on our rear axle. So yeah, we've done pretty well there. So there we go, my bit of paper to tell me I'm legal. Hopefully you found that some use. If you're interested in going to a Weighbridge yourself, that's where you'll find your weigh plates. Take yourself there, really straightforward, and they'll give you a piece of paper and give you an idea of what payload you may or may not have left in your motorhome. But for the purpose of this exercise, yes, it's a 3.5 tonne motorhome. Will we upplate? We could do, in which case Jules then won't be able to drive it, but I still can. So there we go. If you've got any questions about Weighbridges or weighing your motorhome or your caravan or camper, put them in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them. So as always, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.